Obviously, the first thing you need to do is remove the labels from the bottom. I'm using a razor knife. So the next step is to mark the center of your bowl because we're actually going to drill a hole in them. Okay, we're out here in the freezing cold rain because we're going to drill some holes in each of the bottoms of the bowl. So you need a couple things. You need to drill with a special drill bit that's meant for cutting glass and tile. Then you need to drill a hole the same size in a scrap piece of wood, and we'll show you why in just a second because that's going to help to hold it steady. You need to wear gloves if you're going to be holding the glass, and I am going to be pouring water on it because you need to pour water over a glass when you're drilling it. Okay, so the next thing you need to do is rinse these out. You want to be careful because it could be a little sharp around the edge. So now we're ready to put holes in our base. The most important part is you need to have a hollowed out section. I'm going to flip it upside down and I'm going to line up my bowls and then mark where I want them to be. Here's a helpful tip. This is an awl, but you can use a nail. You just want to go into your circle and just poke a little hole, and that's going to help your drill bit stick when you start. This is one of my favorite tips. If you are using a drill bit and you don't want it to go too far, obviously I don't want it to go into my mat or into my table, I'm just using a little piece of tape, and that's going to tell me when it's okay for me to stop. Okay, now we're ready to paint. You've seen this before. It's just a piece of spare wood with some dowels in it that we've used for painting bottles before. I'm going to use it for these bowls. We're using sea glass paint. So you just want to put some around the hole. And you want to be careful not to get it too close to the edge because remember, it's going to hang off a little bit. Make sure it's lined up where you want it. And then you're just going to move on to the next one. And we're going to do this for all 5, and we're going to give it about 20 minutes to dry. Okay, now we're ready to add our fairy lights. I've already unrolled them. I'm going to turn them on so I can see them a little bit better. I'll be able to hide the battery pack underneath once I've threaded them all through. But I love that you can replace these. You can also add some greenery in here or add a faux candle or add something else, and you're just going to be able to take the fairy lights in and out as you like. And voila, we've got our finished project. I'm just adding a few touches of greenery. That's one of the things I love about this. The only things that are permanent are the base and the globes. You could put actual candles in here. You could switch out the greenery in between. You could add Christmas lights in the winter. You could hot glue seashells. Whatever you want to fit your home decor, this project is going to make it happen.
Recently, I came across a handcrafted sea glass beaded garland on the Pottery Barn website, but it was $99, and I knew that I could easily dupe it myself. So I'm going to be using some matte Mod Podge, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to dump a generous amount of the Mod Podge into a plastic container. Next, I added in some food coloring. So to get the sea glass color, I used blue and green, and I added just 1 drop of each color of the food coloring. And then using a wooden popsicle stick, I mixed it fairly well into the Mod Podge, making sure that there were no marbling techniques left in, that it was fairly well mixed. To thin it out just a little bit, I added in just a drop of water just to make sure that I could get the Mod Podge to swirl around inside the glass beads. Next, I used a measuring cup and I poured the Mod Podge mixture into a measuring cup just so that it would pour out easily into my glass beads. The opening on these glass beads is quite small, so I needed all the help I could get getting the Mod Podge in here. This is a very messy DIY, so I opted to wear latex gloves as well while I was working. I used a paper towel to wipe off any excess Mod Podge on the outside of my glass bead because I didn't want that to harden on there. Once I filled all my glass beads, I stuck them onto wooden barbecue skewers and then placed them into some styrofoam. This is just so that all the excess Mod Podge can drip out through the opening of the beads, and I let these set here for about half an hour. Then I took a baking tray with some parchment paper and I placed the glass beads onto the baking tray, and then I placed them in the oven and baked them for about an hour at 200 degrees. Once they were done in the oven, I did let them cool down sufficiently, leaving them for a couple hours so they weren't hot to the touch. Then I took a twine rope and I placed some tape around the end just so that I could thread it on easily onto a needle. I used a yarn needle with quite a big opening so that I could slide the twine through. It is a little tough to get the twine through, but the tape does help. Once I had my needle threaded through, I took one of my glass beads and I threaded it on. So just poke the needle through both ends of the glass bead, slide it through, and then when I get to the end of my twine, instead of just tying just a simple knot, I actually did a couple knots, and then I also did a loop. So I have a loop hanging off the end of my twine so that in case down the road if I want to hang this up on any of my decorative shelves with hooks, I can also hang this as well as lay it flat in any decorative bowls and dishes. So just have my hoop there and then push the bead all the way down to the end. Then I continued sliding on beads and tying knots in between each bead. I did 3 knots in between each bead to make sure that my glass beads wouldn't slip through any of the knots and touch any of the other glass beads. I tried to make them as uniform as I could, but they're not all exactly even. But I just continued doing it in this fashion, working until I threaded on all the glass beads onto my rope. When I threaded on my very last bead, I made sure I tied 3 knots as well and then finished it off again in a loop just like I did on the other end. And then all I had to do was cut off the excess twine, and then my sea glass beaded garland is complete. I went ahead and set it up in my home here in a nice decorative wooden scoop bowl, and I think this just adds such a nice nautical feel to the room. And what I'm most happy about with this DIY is that I was able to take something that was extremely expensive from Pottery Barn and put my own spin on it, make it in my own style.
If you do ever want to store your fairy lights, they are very dainty, so I recommend wrapping them around something sturdy like a piece of cardboard. These have gotten very knotted up in the past and they take a long time to fix, so highly recommend that tip. To get started, I plugged in my 33-foot strand of fairy lights, and these are LED, really affordable on Amazon, as I mentioned, and I'm just simply looping it through all this various glassware. It's kind of a combination of cloches, vases, cookie jars, things I've collected mostly from thrift stores over the years. And all you do is just loop it around until you're happy, kind of bring it back through some different sections to kind of layer it up. And the lights, you can also bend them if you need to. If any part's sticking up in a strange way, you can just bend it to wherever you like. And you can even put the jar down on top of one part just to kind of weigh it down, secure it. And I love using varying heights, anywhere from really short, medium to tall, kind of scattered throughout for an even balanced look. This gets a lot of compliments when people see it. Kind of has some high impact for not a lot of money. And we're getting to the very end of our strand. I'm just gonna loop it back through a little bit. And then once you get to the very tip, I just put it a little bit under a piece of glass to kind of weigh it down. It's a really high impact for low budget. Only takes a few minutes, and I think it adds just a nice sparkle and glow to these glass canisters. And I love the way the lights kind of glow off the glass as well. And here's a look at dusk. Just pops a little bit more. I also wanted to show you these curtain lights that I've had for a few years. They're made specifically for curtains, and it's just one strand across the top and then the vertical lights that go below it. And they look so amazing, especially at night on your curtain. I believe I paid about 16, 17 bucks for these on Amazon a few years ago. They've held up great. I have the same lights hanging up in my office nook. I love them. They're actually not flashing, but they're LED, so they are kind of doing funky things with the camera, but love those, especially at night. The glow they put off is really beautiful. Another way I use fairy lights is in this little retro fireplace I have off of my office. In the months where we don't need the extra heat from the inserts that go in here that have the fire, I just put fairy lights in to kind of give it a nice glow. I'll show you how it looks. I spread the lights out a little bit, and it's just a fun way to add some glow when you don't need the heat. I use the same fairy lights on our mantle, and I do them just like I do the canisters in my dining room. Just kind of loop them through. You can weigh them down with some heavier objects. And it just provides a nice warm glow in the winter. I go pretty big for my holiday decor on the mantle, so once I take all that down, I just really miss having a glow. So this does the trick. I also have a Norfolk pine that I put one 33-foot strand of fairy lights on just to kind of give it a glow. I really like the way it looks at night. And I put some larger bulb lights up on this little console table that holds some of our plants.